Switching of BJT. In last class we studied drift in base region. The next topic is switching of BJT. BJT can be used as a switch, or else we can say BJT working operation can be approximated, not exactly, but we can approximate that working principle to a switching operation also. In order to say switching operation, there will be two modes of operation. One, it is on state, and another one is off state. When it is in on state, that is nothing but a short circuit. When it is in off state, that is nothing but a open circuit. The two states of transistor is switching is shown by common emitter configuration. That is, on and off state configuration can be achieved by BJT by common emitter configuration. Here, as you can see, this is a common emitter configuration of a BJT. So this emitter is common for both base as well as the collector, and the current direction is like this. Emitter current will be inwards and collector current is outwards and base current is outwards. So this is the common emitter configuration. As you can see, the source voltage Vs, where we are applying the pulses, that is always from the positive pulse to a negative pulse, that is 10 volt and minus 10 volt, and here the collector to emitter voltage, here it is applied, and the two states of transistor switching can be achieved by this common emitter configuration. In this figure, the collector current IC, as you can see from this graph, the collector current IC is controlled by varying the value of this base current. For different values of these are the for different values of base current for which we are getting the graphs. For different values of base current, so these are the graphs. For example, if the base current is such that the operating, this is the load line for the particular BJT operation. For example, if the base current is such that the operating point of the BJT lies in this particular line, that is nothing but a normal active mode operation of a BJT. For example, the value of IB is a 0 or a negative. If it is a 0 or a negative, so as you can see here, we have a 0.02 value of IB and 0.04, 0.08, and finally we have here 0.1 milliamp. When the value of IB, here the value of IB is 0, IB value is increasing. For different values of IB, these are the curves. Okay. For IB value 0, when IB value is 0, the collector current is exactly 0. That is, the operating point lies at C. When IB value is 0, the collector current is 0 and the operating point is exactly on the point C. So that is nothing but there is no current is flowing in the BJT, base current is 0 or a negative. The point C is reached at the bottom end of the load line and the collector current is negligible. So at this point the collector current is negligible. This is off state of transistor. Clear? This is the off state of transistor. If the base current is positive, for example, if the base current is positive, say it as a 0.08, positive and sufficiently large. For example, consider it as a 0.08. The device is driven to the saturation region. That is, the operating point will be somewhere else over here. As you can see over here, at this point, the collector to emitter voltage is negligible. That is, VCE drop is very small. Here the drop is very small and the collector current is very large. So this is, we call it as a saturation region, and this is cutoff region, that's why C is mentioned over here, and this is a saturation region, that's why S is mentioned over here. If the value of IB is such that the operating point lies on this particular line somewhere between the S and C, so that we call it as a normal active mode of BJT. Clear? So at this point the device is off, at this point the device is on. So here we can operate the switch as a off mode, and here we can operate the BJT as a on mode. So the different regions of operating regions of a BJT, that is, as we have two junctions we have in case of a PNP transistor. So if this is a PNP transistor, so here we have a two junction. So if this is forward bias, that is one operation. If this is a forward bias, reverse bias, that is the second region of operation, and this is reverse bias and forward bias. There are 4 configurations we can obtain from this BJT. So if both collector base junction is forward bias and emitter base junction is forward bias, if both are forward bias, that we call it as a saturation region, that is completely on state. If VBE is, if this is forward bias and this is reverse bias, that is VBC, that is that junction is, if it is negative, that is the reverse bias, that we call it as a normal active region. So this is the normal working operation of a BJT, where amplification process is possible, that we studied in previous class. If VBE is forward bias and VCE is reverse bias, that is the normal working of P plus NP, that we studied in from the beginning of this module. So that is normal active mode, where amplification is possible. And if VBC is a negative, if this is VBC is the reverse bias, and this, if this junction is reverse bias and this junction both are reverse bias, if both are reverse bias, then that we call it as a cutoff region. At cutoff region no current will be flowing, so that we call it as a off state. So here we, in order to operate the BJT as a switch, we need to concentrate at these two regions of operation, that is saturation region and cutoff region. When both junctions are forward bias, that is saturation region. When both junctions are reverse bias, that is cutoff region. If VBE is reverse bias and VBC is forward bias, that is collector to emitter, that is VBE. If this is forward bias and if this is if this is reverse bias and this is forward bias, that is a inverted, exactly opposite to the amplification region. So these two are exactly opposite to each other. So here, as the topic name is switching operation, so obviously there will be 2 modes of operation, that is on as well as off. On in the sense that is saturation region, off in the sense that is cutoff region. Now the first one, cutoff region, that is how we can make BJT to operate as a switch, that is off condition of BJT. In order to operate a BJT as a switch, that is we need to operate the BJT either in cutoff region, that is off state, either in a saturation on state. So in cutoff region, both emitter junction as well as a collector junction, both are reverse bias, that is in third quadrant they will operate. Third quadrant, that is cutoff region. Emitter junction is reverse bias and collector junction is also reverse biased, and delta PE, that is excess hole concentration, and excess hole concentration at the emitter junction, and this one excess hole concentration at the collector junction. This thing we studied in previous case, the derivation of a coupled diode model. Excess hole concentration and excess hole concentration at the collector junction. So this equation, that is from diode equation, Pn e power q VEB by kT minus 1 e power q VCB by kT minus 1. So collector base junction, and this one with respect to emitter base junction. As both junctions are reverse biased, so VBE, if it is reverse bias in the sense which is very less than 0, and VCB which is also very less than 0. So exponential term we can neglect from this equation number 1 and equation number 2, because both are reverse biased now. So exponential power is negative in the sense, that is less than 0 in the sense we can neglect, because both junction, that is the emitter junction as well as the collector junction, is reverse bias. So now what we can write, if this one is not there, if we neglect this one, means the left out part in the equation is delta PE is almost equal to minus Pn into minus 1 minus Pn. So delta PC, which is equals to Pn into minus 1, that is minus Pn. So if I take this to a denominator, delta PE by Pn, which is approximately equal to minus 1, and delta PC by Pn, which is equals to approximately minus 1. So what we can write, so as these two are equal to minus 1, so we can equate both. So delta PE by Pn delta Pc by Pn, which is almost equal to -1. So this one is the whole concentration that we are studying in cutoff region. So now if we draw the graph with respect to whole concentration, delta P is nothing but a excess whole concentration. So how will be the based on this equation? So this one is the emitter junction, this line is a emitter junction, and this line is with respect to the collector junction. So this one is a origin, with respect to the origin at the beginning. So this one is emitter, base, and this is collector. So here we are drawing the graph with respect to the distance xn, that is a charge concentration distance, and excess whole concentration on the y axis. Whole concentration we are studying. Now at the emitter junction, so we know at emitter junction the whole concentration is minus Pn. The whole concentration, this one is the excess whole concentration, that value is minus Pn. So at the emitter junction the whole concentration, that is nothing but a below 0. Below 0 is nothing but a here somewhere, that will be the minus Pn. Similarly at collector junction also the whole concentration is minus Pn, that is below 0. So that is exactly at here. So if we join these two lines, so that will be the whole concentration at the emitter side and whole concentration at the collector side when both are reverse biased. So you are getting know why we got here minus Pn and here a minus Pn based on this equation. Because both junctions are reverse biased, we can neglect the exponential term. The left out part is minus Pn. Minus Pn will be below this 0 point. That is nothing but a delta P is equals to minus Pn and delta Pc is equals to minus Pn. Now P of xn is equals to 0, as this point is a x of n line, no? So here there is no charge at all, so that we can equate it to 0. P of xn is equals to 0. So again, along with this whole concentration, we need to study some equations. IE equation, as you can see over here. IE equation. IE is equals to IES delta PE by PN minus alpha I ICS delta PC by PN. So these equations are from the coupled diode model equation. So coupled diode model equation, in that refer 4B as well as a 5B equation. Okay, the 4B equation and 5B equation. So these are the equation that we got in coupled diode model. So from this equation, so this one is the after solving the previous, that is this one is also from the coupled diode model. Alpha n IES is equals to alpha I ICS. So these three equation we obtain it from the coupled diode model. So next one. So substituting equation number 6. So here we need to simplify the equation. Alpha n IES can be written as a alpha I ICS. So in the equation number 6, if we substitute equation number 6 in equation number 4, alpha I ICS, if we replace this alpha I IES by alpha n IES, that is rewrite this equation, IE is equals to IES delta PE by PN minus, instead of alpha IES, here we are substituting a alpha n IES, that is alpha n IES delta PC by PN. So if I take a IES by Pn as a common, then the left out part is delta PE minus alpha n delta PC. So substituting 3 in the above equation. So the equation number 3 is nothing but a delta PE and delta PC, which is equals to minus n, that is from here. Delta PE and delta PC, which is nothing but a minus Pn, no? So that we can represent it over here. So delta PE can be written as a minus Pn and delta PC can be written as a minus Pn. After substituting minus Pn, delta PE as well as delta PC by minus Pn, so the left out part, if I take a Pn as a common, minus Pn as a common, minus IES Pn by Pn, 1 minus alpha n will be the left out part in the inside equation. So this Pn will get cancelled. So the equation is IE is equals to minus IES 1 minus alpha n. So that is the equation for IE. So how we solve this equation? That is from the coupled diode model. So from these three equations we got it from coupled diode model, that we simplified here by substituting the value of IE and delta PE and delta PC. So similarly how we got the value of IE? Similarly, if we substitute alpha n IES instead of alpha n IES, if we substitute alpha I IES in equation number 5, so in equation number 5, instead of alpha n IES, if we substitute this equation by alpha I ICS, that is, so the equation number 5, substituting equation number 6 in equation number 5. So the left out part is IC is equals to alpha I ICS delta PE by PN minus ICS delta PC by PN. So if I take a ICS by PN as a common, the left out part is alpha I delta PE minus delta PC. So same as previous case, whatever we simplified here, the same thing we are doing for a IC also. So after solving this equation, we will be getting IC is equals to minus ICS, IC is equals to ICS 1 minus alpha I, that is equation number 7b. So if you know the value of IE, that is the 7a equation, and 7b equation, that is IC, collector current we know, base current, that is the emitter current we know, then we can calculate the base current. IB is equals to the substituting the value of IE and IC. IE we know, IC we know. If we substitute the values, we will be getting the value of IB. So these are the three equations. So that is directly substituted in the textbook. So directly they given in a textbook. So if you know the value of IB, IC as well as IE, then no need to derive. If you know the values of this equation, then you can use this directly. No need to derive the each and every equation. So then we know this. Here, if this is a that is equivalent circuit for the corresponding cutoff equation. So the region which we are working here is a cutoff region. So if we draw the equivalent circuit for this cutoff region, then it looks like this. So here we have a emitter and here we have a collector, and this is our base. The direction of the emitter current will be exactly like this, and the collector current outwards and the base currents also outwards. So here this emitter current equation from the 7a equation, as you can see here, this emitter current equation, it is dependent on the some factor, that is alpha n factor. So for that reason we are representing that with a dependent current source. Here also the collector current, which is also dependent on the alpha I factor. So for that reason we need to substitute with this dependent current source. So this one dependent on alpha n and this one dependent on alpha I. For that reason we are using a dependent current source. And as this emitter current is flowing upwards, and 7a equation, as you can see over here, 7a equation where the minus sign is given over here. The emitter current is upwards, but here we are getting a minus sign in the particular equation. That's why arrow mark is downwards over here. And here the collector current is also positive, and the collector current obtained equation is also positive. That's why it is upwards. See, whatever we explained in that particular slides, that is directly given over here. That is cutoff region. Delta PE by PN as well as the delta PC by PN is directly given as a -1. Either you can write this one or you can derive that also. And we derived all these three equations in the previous slide. So if you know these three equations, IC, IB, IC, you can directly write it over here. The same thing, the equivalent circuit and the excess volt concentration distribution graph. So this one is with respect to cutoff region. So whatever is present in this PPT, that is the derivation for this particular IE, IC as well as the IB. Now the saturation. In order to operate a BJT as an on switch, we need to operate the BJT in saturation region. So saturation region, in the sense, the junction, there will be a two junction, VEB and VCB. When both are forward biased, that is, as you can see, the operating regions of a BJT, see, when both are forward biased, when VBE is also forward biased and a VBC is also forward biased, that region we call it as a saturation region. So in order to operate the BJT as a switch, that is a on switch, we need to operate in a BJT in a saturation region. So how we can make a BJT to operate in a saturation is, the saturation region begins when the reverse bias across the collector junction is reduced to 0. That is the beginning of the saturation region. Here is the width of the base, and here the charge distribution, that is on the xn axis. This is the width of the base. So this reverse saturation, the saturation region begins when, that is when the collector junction reach to a zero potential. So before this one it was having a negative potential, no? That is from this figure. So here both are reverse biased. When both are reverse biased, the excess hole concentration was minus Pn. Here also the excess hole concentration was minus Pn. So this was the excess hole concentration when both are reverse biased. But in order to make a BJT to a saturation region, then both should be in forward bias. How we can make a BJT to push to a saturation region is by making the collector junction first to a zero potential and by applying a positive voltage, forward biasing a VBE, and by applying a zero voltage to a collector base junction. So these lines are nothing but what? This one is a emitter junction and this one is a collector junction. Here we have a base N region. So this is P region and this is also P region. So how we are making the negative region, that is cutoff region, to a saturation region? There is one method. That is, first we need to forward bias the emitter base junction and we need to make the collector base junction to a zero potential. So this is the beginning of the saturation region. Clear? We need to apply the collector base junction voltage 0 and we need to forward bias the emitter base junction. So this is the charge concentration that you can see over here. VCB is at a zero potential and a VBE at a positive potential. So after that, what we can increase? After some time, that is a oversaturation region. So after that, initially we need to make a VCB 0 and after that here VCB is at positive potential. So VCB is also at positive potential and a VEB is also at positive potential. That we call it as a oversaturation region. So this region, the oversaturation region, here is the point where the BJT operates as a switch. In this region only the BJT operates as a on switch, in this shaded region only. This overshaded, that is the oversaturation region, indicates the BJT is operating as a on switch. Clear? And one more thing, here with respect to the emitter junction is forward bias and the collector junction has a zero bias, that is at the beginning. So at the beginning what happens, from the cutoff region to a saturation region we are pushing. So at that time what happens, emitter junction is forward bias, there we have some voltage and the collector base junction is 0. A very little voltage drop across the device from the collector to emitter. A small voltage drop will take place across this junction. That is, see here, when this junction is at zero potential and this junction is at forward potential, that is, this one is at forward bias and this one is at zero potential. the whatever the applied input voltage is there, no, that will, this one is forward bias and this one is at zero potential. A small voltage drop is going to take place across the device. So applied overall voltage, for example, if a 40 voltage is applied across this device, means that entire voltage will come across this resistor. So all drop is going to take place across this resistor. So that's why the voltage drop across the device at that time of saturation is very less, that is at this point. So this is the saturation point, no? At this point the voltage drop we see is 0, that is very small, and the current is very large. So in this mode the BJT operates as a on switch. The saturation region is over now. How we can make the BJT to come from cutoff region to a saturation is by making the collector base junction to a 0 and then increasing the VCB potential slowly. That will make the saturation region. So in this region only the device acts like a switch on. That is the on state of the switch. Now the switching cycle. Here the whatever operation, that is the switching time between the on cycle, that is from on to off, as well as cutoff region to saturation region and saturation to cutoff region, it won't take place immediately. There is some time delay, as because of charge carriers which are present in the junction, so they have to decay slowly. So that time required for that delay, we call it as the switching specification. That is a switching cycle. So as this one is a PN as well as a NP diodes are there, so the transition from cutoff region to the saturation region and from saturation to the cutoff region, it takes some time. So as you can see here, this is the circuit diagram that we are considered PNP transistor, and this one is the approximate the circuit diagram, and the B is the waveform. Here some waveforms are given. That is a base current, stored charge. This one is a base current, that is a pulse current which we are giving to the base, and the stored charge carriers in the base region, and the collector current, and the approximate hole distributions in the base region. As you can see here, the hole distribution, that is a T0. T0 is a cutoff region. At cutoff region we know the whole distribution is at minus potential. Here also it is at minus potential, and here also it is a minus potential only. That is T0, that is cutoff region we say. And T1 region, that is a normal active region. The 4 region of operation that they shown over here, that is T0, T1, Ts and T2. The cutoff region when both are reverse biased. So the charge potential is here also the minus Pn, and here also we have minus Pn, that is shown over here. See, here also the minus delta P is minus Pn, and here also it is minus Pn because of both regions are reverse bias. For that reason, that we call it as a cutoff region. Now T1, normal active region. Normal active region, now the second one is normal active region. We have 4 regions of operation. So here both are forward bias, here one is forward bias, and the collector base junction is reverse bias. So this region we call it as a normal active region. So that is the charge distribution is shown over here. Here the collector base junction, this is emitter base junction. Here this is our emitter. This one is emitter, no? Emitter, and this is base, and this one is a collector. When collector base junction is forward bias and emitter base junction is forward bias and a collector base junction is a reverse bias, that is in the second quadrant operation. So the T1 region is the active region, normal active region, or else we call it as the amplification region. When emitter base junction is forward bias and a collector base junction, that is beginning of the saturation region. Beginning of the saturation in the region in the sense the collector base region, here the potential is 0 at this point. From how it is switching from the active region to the saturation region. So the procedure is there. First we need to make the collector base junction potential 0 and then we need to increase. So that region we call it as a beginning of the saturation region. And after that we need to increase the collector base potential. When emitter base potential is also as positive and the collector base junction is also at positive, that is nothing but a final saturation state. So 4 states which are mentioned over here, that is nothing but a hole distribution, approximate hole distribution in the base. The first one is reverse bias. When both are reverse bias, here also we have minus Pn potential, here also minus Pn potential. When emitter base junction is forward bias and collector base junction is at reverse bias, that we call it as an active region. When emitter base junction is forward bias and collector base junction is at 0 potential, that is the beginning of the saturation. When the emitter base junction is also forward bias and the collector base junction is also forward bias, that we call it as a final saturation state. That is on, this one is the on state and this region we call it as a off state. So T0 is off and T2 is a on state. This is about the hole distribution in the particular width of the base. Now we look at the switching time which is required to move from cutoff region to the saturation region. That is from, in order to make the device to switch from this region to this region, so time is required because of the presence of charge carriers. So that time is given by this waveform. As you can see over here, the base current is given. The base current, the type of waveform which is given is a pulse waveform. When a pulse waveform, that is a base current, is increased, so what happens to the charge? That is nothing but a B is nothing but a what? Charge storage. The base current and charge storage. QB is the charge storage. The charge which is going to store in a base will also increase. As this base current is positive, it is at positive peak. So the charge which is present in the base, it will also starts to increase. So charge will also increase when it reach to the value of Qs. So that is nothing but the charge which is required to make the collector saturation. So when it reach the value of Qs, at that time what happens? When that is a base current is applied, the charge storage will increase in the base. At the same time, collector current will also starts to increase, but there is one limit up to which the collector current cannot increase. So when it reach to the value of a T1, so this time, that is nothing but a Ts. At this Ts, so what happens? The collector come to the saturation. So this is the saturation current. Even after that, even after the Ts value, if the charge increase, the collector current, it won't increase. It remains constant. So as this base current is at positive polarity, at positive peak, the charge also in the base region, it will starts to increase. As you can see here, it's exponentially increasing because of this pulse which is applied at the base. The charge which are present in the base, that is increasing. So it will increase its storage capacity. The charges are storing in the base region. So when the negative pulse is applied at this point, when the negative pulse is applied, so what happens? It slowly discharge. The charge which is stored in the base, that will discharge now. So at one point when it reach below this Qs value, so at that time, so the current IC will decrease. That will also exponentially it is decreasing. So when it reach to the value of a Qs, at that time the IC collector current will decrease, and again the negative peak, when it completes the negative peak, finally the base current cannot be a negative always, so it will go to the zero value. So as you can see over here, the curves are not exponentially straight except this, the base current. So the rest of all curves, like collector current, which is exponentially increasing, exponentially decreasing, base charge shortage in the base region is also exponentially increasing and exponentially decreasing. So all these are exponentially increasing and decreasing. These are not sharp curves. So here the time required, so here there is no pulse, that is the base current at this point is zero, that is the negative pulse we are applying, but at this point the collector current is decreasing. The time from here to here, so it is a time TSD. So that time is nothing but that is given over here. While QB is larger than QS, the collector current remains at the fixed value IC, fixed by battery resistor. So thus there is a storage delay time TSD after base current is switched and before IC begins to fall towards zero. So that TSD is nothing but a time required to move from on state to off state. So this much of time is required for switching of on to off. So in this part the device is off, and in this part the switch is saturation region and this one is at cutoff region. So this much amount of a time is required for the charge carriers to discharge completely. So that is nothing but a switching cycle.